You've probably been treating pretty women, pretty girls, the same way that 95% of guys do, and that's why they're not feeling it for you. Right? So if a woman is pretty, she's used to getting a certain type of reaction from a man, and that is that the man will want her based on her looks immediately. He'll want her, right? But what pretty girls and pretty women want to be able to experience is that the man will choose her based on who she is, right? And approximately 95% of guys that a pretty woman or a pretty girl will meet in her life won't have any other standards other than her looking good. And that's it. The man wants her because of that. But guys who are naturally good with women, who I estimate it's only about 5% of guys who are like this, they grow up and they just know the right things to do around women. They know the right behaviors. They know how to react when a woman says or does something, and they know how to push her buttons and trigger her attraction. They just know how to do it. And as a result, they're used to being around pretty girls, pretty women, and having that sexual and romantic attention and interest, and also having sex or relationships with women who are beautiful. They're used to that. So when a guy who is a natural is interacting with a pretty girl or a pretty woman, he will honestly not just want her based on her looks right away and not really care about anything else to do with her personality, not have any other standards regarding her other than her looks. And instead, he will be honestly talking to her and assessing her. And it's difficult for most guys out there to do this because, number one, they haven't been told what I'm explaining for you in this video, and I'm going to explain more as we go along. And number two, most guys don't really interact with pretty women or beautiful women very often. So when they do get an opportunity to be interacting with a beautiful woman or a pretty woman, they feel stunned, right? They interact with her and it's just a shock to their system of, oh, wow. And he wants her. He wants her right away. And he reacts like 95% of guys react when they encounter a pretty woman, a beautiful woman. They just feel stunned. They feel shocked. And the woman can see it. It's written all over his body language. It's written all over his behavior and energy and the way that he approaches the interaction with her. But a natural who is used to being around beauty and is used to beauty liking him and wanting him will not be shocked. And she will notice that as well. And if you're a guy who does feel quite stunned around beautiful women or pretty women, but you can feel confident and more of yourself when you're around women that you're not attracted to, then you can start to do what the natural does. You can honestly start to put yourself in the position where you are assessing her based on who she is, rather than just wanting her based on her looks. And it doesn't mean that when you're interacting with a pretty woman or a beautiful woman, you should not care about her looks or say something like, oh, looks don't matter, or, you know, yeah, you're beautiful, but what else is there to you? Because that can easily come across as rude, and it's unnecessary in most cases to say that. A guy who's very confident can get away with something like, oh, you know, you're beautiful, but what else is there to you, sort of thing. He can get away with that if he really wants to. But if a guy isn't confident and he's not used to being around pretty women or beautiful women and he says something like that, the woman can react to him and say, well, that's kind of rude. Why are you saying that? And in most cases, he will then panic and he'll start to shift his body language, and he may explain himself or apologize or say that he didn't mean it that way and so on. And the woman then knows that he's putting on a fake act of being a guy who has standards. Whereas a guy who's a natural is not going to pretend that he doesn't feel attracted to her looks or that looks aren't important to him and so on. He's not going to do anything like that. Instead, he's honestly going to be in a position where when he's interacting with her, if, for example, she says something funny and she seems funny and he's enjoying interacting with her because she's quite cute and funny, he will honestly say to her something like, you're actually pretty funny. I didn't expect that from you. I like it. Or he'll tell her that there's more to her than he expected, and that's quite surprising, or he likes that, or she's more interesting than he expected her to be, or she's actually got a cool vibe and I like that, right? And he's coming from a place where he is honestly assessing her based on who she is. And it's honest, right? He really is looking at her and thinking, yeah, you're actually kind of funny. I like that. I wasn't expecting that from you, right? And she then feels that. It's coming from a man who is honestly assessing her based on who she is. And what she experiences from 95% of other guys that she'll meet in her life is that they just want her based on her looks right away. And they honestly do not care about anything else about her. Like, they're looking at her and they're just like, yep, I'd have sex with her. I'd have a short-term relationship with her, sure. Or maybe for some guys, they're looking at her and thinking, I'd marry this girl, right? And she doesn't have to do anything. And she's been getting that reaction her entire life, ever since she became a woman, but she also got that reaction when she was a girl at school, with guys having crushes on her. All right, it's the same thing, but the guys who are naturals, the guys who are used to being around beauty and having beauty like them, want them, and then when they grow up, they start to have relationships with pretty women, beautiful women. Those guys are honestly going to be able to look at her and assess her for who she is, and they're going to like her for who she is, and she's going to get that sense, but he's not going to ever pretend and lie that looks don't matter. Oh, I don't care about looks and sort of thing, when he really does. So when a beautiful woman or a pretty girl feels seen for who she is, not just what she looks like, and it's coming from a guy who's honestly doing that, she will then start to chase his approval, right? She'll want to get more of his approval, right? What else can I get him to like about me, right? What else can I potentially get a good reaction from him about? Because she gets a sense that he's the sort of guy that if she's interacting with him and she's behaving in a way that he doesn't like, he might start to lose a bit of interest in her, right? He might start to have a bit of a different body language reaction. Yet approximately 95% of the guys that a pretty woman or a beautiful woman will meet will not do that. They will not have the guts to do that, the courage to do that. They will not have the emotional independence to do it, because for most guys, they don't meet beautiful women very often, or they don't have an opportunity with a pretty girl very often. So if they are in front of a pretty girl or a beautiful woman and she seems to be showing some interest in talking to him and there's potentially an opportunity there, he doesn't want to come across as though he may be losing interest in her in some moments. He doesn't want to do that. She could then reject him, or she could get upset with him. But he doesn't realize that by just wanting her and wanting her no matter what, he's reacting like pretty much every other guy that she's met in her life, and it's not special. It's the default reaction that she's been getting from guys and men all her life as she's grown up. It's just standard. But she notices when a guy doesn't react like that. And it's almost always because the guy is used to being around beauty, or is used to having beautiful women want him. He's used to having relationships with beautiful women. It's just normal for him. Or he's grown up just being a natural, right? Maybe his dad was a natural and taught him, or he had a big brother who taught him, or an uncle or something like that. But he has grown up and he's been able to figure it out very quickly and understand how he should be behaving around women, how he should be reacting around them, and not just looking at a pretty woman or a beautiful woman and then just wanting her no matter what, right? He is a guy who has some discernment, some standards, and he's able to honestly do that because he's used to having pretty women or beautiful women feel attracted to him, because he's doing it the right way. He's making women feel attracted. And I'm going to suggest another of my YouTube videos for you to watch at the end of this video. But first, I'll let you know that if you're a guy who does struggle to feel confident enough around pretty women or beautiful women, or you tend not to know what to say and do around women like that, and you want to know what to do so you get results, then I recommend that you start watching my attraction mastery videos, where I explain what to say and do to get results, such as this. These are just some of the results that guys are posting about in my community. And if you look at the underlined bits here, you'll see the results that they're getting. And just on a side note, you don't ever have to post anything in the community. You can just observe if you want to, but if you also want to, you can participate in the community. Guys catch up and they go out meeting women together. They support each other online. They have discussions and so forth. They're getting the sort of results that a lot of guys think are impossible, right? It's impossible to get those sort of results, but it's not. It's actually very easy. When you understand what naturals say and do, how to display all of the traits that make women feel sexually and romantically attracted to you, then everything just starts to change for you. Women want you. It becomes very easy. So if you're interested in learning those techniques, check out the link in the description. Alternatively, if you want to continue learning from me on YouTube right now, I recommend this video.